Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Case Files Behind Closed Doors. So, in the previous episode, we had a second interview with Charles, and we managed to poke a few holes in his story. And we also managed to do the same with Janice, and now we have lined up for the second interview of Rebecca. So, all we know about Rebecca so far is that she was at her dad's house during the murder. She had called in or text a friend to cover her shift the following day so she could stay home and work on that paper. She was aware of the issues but thinks they're only recent. She wasn't aware of any long-term abuse or long-term arguing or anything like that. She did used to live with Daniel and Emma for a little short time anyway. She doesn't believe it's possible that her parents could be involved, and that's about all we know about her because she basically didn't talk the last time we spoke to her. So let's hopefully learn more this time.
All right, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphreys. So, Rebecca, I want to go back to the day of Daniel's death. Mm-hmm. Now, you said that you were at your dad's house the entire day that Daniel was killed. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
And the only thing to corroborate this are these text messages between you and a coworker in which you asked them to cover your shift for that day. Is that also correct?
Yeah, that's also correct.
So see, the problem here is that those text messages do not necessarily prove that you were at your dad's house that day. In fact, all they prove is that you didn't go to work that day. Now, as to your exact whereabouts on that day, well, that is yet to be proven. Right? All I've got to go on is your words. Now, would you say that that is a fair assessment?
Yeah, I guess. I can see where you're coming from. But at the same time, I don't really have any reason to lie either.
Now, that very well may be true. But my job is to question everything. Okay? Mm-hmm. I can't base things off of just words alone. Mm-hmm. I need facts, right?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
So, is there anyone that may have seen you either enter or leave your dad's house on that day?
I don't know. I mean, there's not really a way for me to tell if somebody had seen me on that day. It's possible, but I don't know.
But your dad, he can account for your time later that day, right? In the evening?
Yeah, he can.
All right, so according to you, the only person who can account for your whereabouts on that day is your dad, but that's only in the evening. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. That is correct.
Rebecca, did you go to Daniel's house the day that he was killed?
No. I already told you I was at my dad's house the entire day.
I am aware that that's what you told me. But again, without any concrete proof, I can't just go based off of your words.
Do you have access to their security cam?
Yes, we do.
Okay, so is that not proof? The security cam has a sensor. Anytime anybody gets within a few feet of it, it triggers. So it's quite literally impossible to enter the house without being recorded. So are you able to check those recordings? Have you checked them?
Yes, we have gone through all of those recordings, yeah.
And did you see me enter the house?
As a matter of fact, no, we did not.
Well then, there you go. I don't know what more you want.
But see, Rebecca, you didn't necessarily need to go through the front door. You could have gone through the rear door. Now, to my knowledge, the rear entrance does not have any sort of security cam of any kind. So, in theory, you, or anyone else for that matter, could have gone through there. Isn't that a possibility?
No, actually it's not, no. The rear door is always kept locked, and on top of that, I don't have a house key. So whenever I need to enter the house, I use a spare key. And if I have to use the spare key, I have to go get it. In turn, I would trigger the security cam and I would be recorded. I'd be on those recordings.
Now, In regards to these recordings, I did notice that you guys have a keypad on that front door. So you don't have a code for that either?
No, that's been broken since I've moved in.
All right, so since you don't have a key and that rear door is always kept locked and that keypad is broken,
Mm-hmm.
then there would have been no way for you to enter that house on that day. Is that what you're telling me?
Not unless I use the spare key.
All right, fair enough.
Mhm.
Okay, Rebecca, we are going to take a short break.
Mhm.
You just wait here, all right? And I'll be back in just a few.
Mhm.
All right.
Okay, well, we know from Charles's interview in the last episode that he said she does have front door keys. He was very explicit by saying she has a front door key, and she would. It wasn't her because she'd never used the spare.
Well, yet again, I feel like we're not getting the whole truth here. Her not having an alibi is definitely a red flag. I know we brought her in here as a witness, but I'm thinking we may have to bump her up to a suspect. The abuse she witnessed could be enough to give her a motive. Possibly. All right, let's see if you can work your magic and find some contradictory evidence here. I want to squeeze every ounce of truth out of her. You give me a call when you got something solid. Talk soon.
I'll have one thing solid, unless you're wanting two things. Oh, you're wanting two things, of course you are. Okay, well, statements made by Charles for definite. Let's just have a read of her messages a second, just in case there's anything in here. That's Charles. Janice. It's Emma. That's Daniel. Of course, I'll click on every single wrong one first. There we go. Did she say anything here? It doesn't look like it. That's contradictory. So we know, as I said, that Charles said in his last interview, we'll just double check it, but I'm fairly certain he said that Rebecca...
All right, this is
Doesn't
a
have a
continuation with house, correct?
Yes, I can see that.
So can you look up there and tell me what is the date?
It's September 12th.
So Charles, can we cut the bullshit?
I was going to flip out again.
The reason that you went to the house was to find this gun.
That's right. Freaked me out, right? And I knew it was going to look bad, me coming in the house and this guy being dead. So I quickly kind of came up with this plan to...
Anything that you brought her that evening was dinner. All right, so if your intent was to go there and to find this gun, then why do you look so confused?
This is the bit
when
I
you first
believe that
arrived?
he tells us Rebecca
Honestly,
definitely has
that's what
keys.
I'm still confused about. Because I went to reach for the spare key, it wasn't there. So I thought I'd try the door anyway, and to my surprise, it was already unlocked.
So who do you think could have taken that spare key?
Honestly, I have no clue. I mean, I know it wasn't me, and it definitely wasn't Rebecca, because she has her own keys to the house, so I don't know. And I don't know why they would have left the door unlocked. That doesn't make any sense either. But what I do know is that it's obvious that somebody was there before me.
So yeah, that's definitely that. And let me just check this a second. Ah, that is one. Okay, that is one. So we've got the open back door. So that is our two pieces of key evidence there. So that is confirmed. He did say Rebecca has her own front door keys and the back door was open.
Hey. Yes! I knew you'd find exactly what we needed. Now, I do feel kind of silly not remembering the rear door being open, but that's why two sets of eyes are better than one, right? Good stuff, good stuff. Right, with that photo and Charles's statement, we definitely have enough to back her into a corner. Let's see how she responds. We'll be live in just a few. All right, bye.
Let's do it, because she is definitely hiding something. Definitely hiding something. You can just tell by the way she's speaking to us, what she's saying. It's quite vague with certain things as well.
Okay, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphreys. Now, Rebecca, I know we discussed you not having a way of entering that house without being seen, but I do want to revisit that rear door possibility. So let's hypothetically say that if someone were to leave the rear door open for some rare reason, then in theory, you could have entered through that rear door completely undetected, right?
I guess in that very rare and specific scenario, it's possible. Sure.
All right, now I want you to take a look at this photo right here, and you tell me, what is it that you notice?
The rear door is left open? Is that what you want me to notice?
Correct. Now, this photo was taken from the crime scene, which means that someone left that door open. So this very rare and specific scenario is actually a fact. Now, we found that rear door unlocked and ajar. Okay, so now with this knowledge, it is safe to say that you could have entered through that rear door completely undetected, right?
I guess given what you've just shown me, yeah, sure, it's possible, but that's not what happened. I already told you I didn't go to the house that day, and I feel like I'm just repeating the same thing over and over.
And why should I believe you?
Look, am I a suspect here? Because you're treating me as if I actually had something to do with this.
No, Rebecca, I am treating you like someone who may have something to hide, because you have indeed hidden information from me. In fact, I might go so far to say that you have straight up lied to me, Rebecca.
What are you even talking about?
Look, when I talked to your dad earlier today, he told me that you have your own set of keys to Daniel's house. But then you told me that you don't have keys to Daniel's house. So you see, either you or your dad is lying to me.
Okay, yes, I do have keys to Daniel's house, but that doesn't mean that I was there.
Now, why did you lie to me? All right? Lying to me is only going to make things worse, and you know that.
I don't know. I guess I didn't want you to be suspicious of me.
Well, that obviously did not work out too well for you, did it?
No, it didn't.
All right, so now knowing that you do actually have keys to the house, it is safe to say that you could have entered through that rear door whether it was left open or not. Is that correct?
Yes, technically, that is correct. But look, I know that I lied to you about not having keys, but I swear I'm not lying about when I say that I didn't go to the house that day.
All right, well, let's assume that you are telling the truth, okay, and that you did not go to the house that day. Can you think of any reason as to why that door would have been left open, especially when you said that the rear door is never left unlocked? So why is it that on this specific day, that door was left open?
I don't know. Maybe Daniel left it open for some weird reason. That's all I can think of because I don't know. I honestly just don't know.
All right, Rebecca, let's put a pause on this conversation, okay? You can step out of here for now.
Sure.
She's really, really, really difficult to speak to, isn't she? She's also got a bit of like a teenager thing. She's 20 years old, but she acts like she's like 15 sometimes. Got like a stroppy teenager vibe.
Hey, so you think she's telling the whole truth now?
No.
I feel like we got more out of her. And maybe she's being honest. But I still don't know. We still don't have the complete picture, which means technically anything is possible. Alright, we've made some good progress so far, but it's time to really grind this out and get to the bottom of this case. I want to bring all four of them back in here for one more round of questioning. The gloves are coming off this time. Alright, let's get to it. I'll start with Janice. Let's see what more we can get out of her. I'll be back with her in just a sec. All right. Bye.
Okay, the gloves are off. We're going to go for a bit of bad cop now. I swear, are we good cop and he's bad cop? We never get to ask questions. He asks them all. I still don't think Rebecca's telling us everything. She just doesn't give that vibe to us, but I don't know. But it's hard to say because she could easily be telling the truth as well. But yeah, well, let's dig a little bit harder into Janice then. So, be interesting what we're going to have to do here. I assume he's going to really twist Janice here to try and get her to break. Let's see.
This is a continuation with Janice Burks. So, Janice, I just want to revisit our discussion regarding your relationship with Emma.
Sure.
Now, there seems to be a lot of trust between the two of you. It seems that she confides in you quite a bit. Would you agree with that?
That's correct, sir.
Now, see, I'm finding it hard to believe that that level of trust can be built between two people that are simply just neighbors, especially considering the fact that the two of you haven't even been neighbors for all that long. Hell, I've got neighbors on my street that I've seen for years, right? And I still don't know their names.
I don't know what to tell you, sir. Our relationship is what it is.
So are you this close with all of your neighbors?
No. I already told you what my relationship was like with most of my neighbors. They keep to themselves and I do the same.
But not with Emma.
No, because Emma actually treats me like a decent human being.
So would you say that you're somewhat of a protector as it pertains to Emma? I mean, you did mention that you look out for her, right?
Yes, I do look out for her, but I wouldn't go as far as saying I'm her protector. But yes, I do look out for her.
Now, Janice, we both know that you are capable of taking a human being's life. That's already been proven, right?
That was a really long time ago, sir. And you know why I did that, so don't you dare try to make it seem like I'm some sort of monster.
No, Janice, I don't think that you're a monster. Come on, I don't think that. But with your track record, your desire to look out for Emma, and your knowledge of the abuse that she experienced, I mean, one could easily say that you may have very well had a hand in this murder.
This is bullshit. I knew you would use my past as some sort of justification for killing this man. I gave you the benefit of the doubt, but I guess it's my fault for being so damn stupid. Look, I had nothing to do with that man's death. Yes, I entered the house the day he died, but I told you the truth on that. I found him and he was already dead.
So how do I know that you didn't kill him? Why should I believe someone that already has a proven track record for disregarding the law? Why should I believe you?
Look, the truth is, his dead body wasn't the only thing I saw when I entered the house.
What do you mean?
When I first entered the house, I saw someone fleeing through the backyard.
Wait, there was somebody else at the house?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then who was this person that you saw?
I don't know. It happened so fast, I only caught a glimpse of them.
Were you able to make out any sort of identification, race, sex, body type, anything?
Not really. The only thing I can really remember is that it seemed like it was a man. The build, the way they were running, it definitely seemed like it was a man.
Okay, so you saw a male fleeing through the backyard.
That is correct, sir.
And that's the only thing that you know for sure?
That's all I can remember, sir.
All right, Janice, let's put a quick pause on this conversation.
Sure.
All right.
So is she saying that to throw us off the scent? Or is she basically saying Charles did it?
Well, things just got very interesting, didn't they? This is, of course, assuming she's telling the truth about seeing someone flee through the backyard. Now, it is consistent with the crime scene photos showing the back door slightly open. It would also give an explanation as to why it was left open. Maybe they were trying to get the heck out of there as fast as possible when they heard Janice come in. But again, this is assuming she's telling the truth. Even if she's being honest, it's pretty odd that she can positively state it was a male that she saw, but yet she can't make out any other details? Does that strike you as odd? Or maybe I'm overthinking it. What do you think? You think she's telling the truth about that? You think it was a man that she saw, or you think she's got something more that she's hiding? I'll head back in once I get your take on this. Let me know what you think, alright? Talk soon.
Is Janice telling the truth about seeing a man flee? Honestly, no, I don't think she is. And here's why. Our suspect list only contains one man, right? And if Charles had been that man, when he went back to the house later on, which, you know, it still could be him, but this is my theory. If he went back to the house later on, why wouldn't he have closed that back door? Why would he have left that open? Do you think he would have gone back and cleaned up a little bit if he was the one that had done the murder? Also, having been semi-caught, he probably wouldn't risk going back. Because as the fleeing culprit, you wouldn't be sure whether the police are going to be there or anything. So you wouldn't probably risk going back. So maybe this clears Charles. And maybe this leaves it only can be Rebecca or Emma. So I don't think it was a man necessarily that she saw. But let's just watch that final bit of the clip again when she says it's a man. I want to see how she says that to us because it seemed unusual to me. I was busy writing my notes.
Already dead. Dead body wasn't the only thing I saw when I...
Oh?
I don't know. It happened so fast, I only caught a glimpse of them.
Were you able to make out any sort of identification? Race, sex, body type, anything?
Not really.
Nothing. Not really.
The only thing I can really remember is that it seemed like it was a man. The build, the way they were running, it definitely seemed like it was a man.
But just before that, you said you like nothing. No, nothing on build or anything like that. But you were sure it's a man. But you couldn't tell their build or how tall they were, anything like that. But you were sure it's a man. Very unusual. How do you know that then?
Okay, so you saw a male fleeing through the...
Okay, I don't believe that. I just don't believe that. If you didn't get a good look at who it was, how can you be so certain it's a man? I know, sometimes you can just tell by the way somebody's moving, kind of whether they're male or female, but you don't know for sure. So, is Janice telling the truth about seeing a man? I'm going to go with no.
Hey, so you think she's not telling the whole truth, huh? Can't argue with you there. I can't put my finger on it exactly, but she really didn't seem too authentic there.
Something seemed off. I
Looks
agree.
like we both got that same read on her. All right, let me press her on this. We'll see if our instincts are correct. Let me head back in. Talk to you later.
When she said it was a man there, it just did not seem right, did it?
Remember is that it seemed like it was a man. The build, the way they were running, it definitely seemed like it was a man.
And the way she says it there at the end is like it was a man. Take it as being a woman. She doesn't want to say it's a woman. It's a man. But she says it in such a way like she's giving us a secret code. Like if you were trying to give a secret code to somebody, you would say it that way. It's very odd the way she said it. So let's find out why.
All right, this is another continuation with Janice Burks. So, Janice, you had just finished telling me that upon entering Daniel's house the day of his death, you saw a man fleeing the crime scene through the backyard. Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
And yet you fail to identify any other aspect of this person, but yet you can for sure say that this person was a man, correct?
That is correct, sir.
So Janice, does that make sense?
I'm sorry, sir. Does what make sense?
Well, that this whole thing happens as quickly as you say it does. You notice absolutely nothing about this person, but yet you can for sure say that they were a man. Does that make sense?
I mean, that's what I remember, sir. I can't control my memory.
All right, Janice, look, let's cut the shit. All right, none of this makes any sense. None of it. Now, Janice, we have already talked about obstruction of justice. Okay, I can charge you with that very easily if I find out that you are lying or hiding information from me. And Janice, let's not forget that you are also still on probation. Now, do you want to see yourself back in prison? Do you want to say goodbye to this nice life that you got going for yourself? Come on, Janice, don't be stupid. You tell me the truth. You tell me exactly what happened inside that house.
All right, look, sir. I may have misspoken, but for the most part, I really have told you the truth.
For the most part.
Look, I heard a gunshot. I rushed over to see if everything was okay. I used a spare key to enter the house. The first thing I saw when I entered the house was someone fleeing through the backyard. I honestly didn't make out anything about them. It happened so fast. And then I went into the bedroom, and that's when I saw Daniel lying there dead. He'd been shot, and it was clear that he was dead. I panicked, left the house, and honestly just wanted to pretend like I never saw anything. I was at the wrong place at the wrong time. I didn't want to get caught up in this whole mess. Surely you can understand that.
Yeah, Janice, I can understand that. Yeah. All right, so what you just told me, that is the absolute truth?
Yes, sir, that is the absolute truth.
So you can't say for sure that that person you saw is a man. That's what you lied about.
I truthfully couldn't tell you whether it was a man or a woman. It happened that fast.
So then why did you lie about that specifically?
Well, look, I didn't want you guys to think it was Emma. I can see why you think she might have something to do with this. And I didn't want to bring any more attention her way.
But since you have no idea who this person is, then it is possible that it could have been Emma.
I guess so, but I highly doubt it.
Well, look, Janice, no offense, but your doubts mean very little to me compared to facts. You know, I really should charge you with obstructing this investigation.
But I'm not obstructing anything. I've honestly told you everything that I know.
You are walking a slippery slope, Janice. A very slippery slope. All right. Well, besides Emma, do you have any idea who this person could have been? Could it have been Charles or maybe Rebecca?
I don't know, sir.
Are there any neighbors or acquaintances of Daniel's that you may be familiar with who he maybe had, I don't know, disagreements or arguments with, anything like that?
Not to my knowledge, sir.
So this really could have been anybody that you saw.
Yes, sir, that's right.
All right, well, Janice, is there anything else that you would like to add to your statement today? Anything at all?
No, officer, I have told you everything.
Well, for your sake, Janice, I really hope you have. All right, we're going to take a final break. Okay, we are almost done here today.
Okay, sir.
Okay, I think we've finally sort of broken Janice there.
Well, If she's telling the truth, then that would mean we have someone else to account for. We need to know who was in that house before Janice. And at this point, it could literally be anybody. I don't think we're going to get anything else out of Janice, so we're just going to have to roll with what we got and go from there. And with this knowledge, I do want to hear from Rebecca again. I got some more questions for her. Let me grab her and get back in. Talk to you in a bit. Bye.
Yep, line her up. I think we're finished with Janice. I think she's seems innocent now. If she'd have just told us that from the beginning, we could have been much further along. Right, I think this is Rebecca again.
All right, this is a continuation with Rebecca Humphreys. Now, Rebecca, some new information has come up, so we do need to revisit a few items and see if we can get some answers. Now, I have reason to believe that the morning of Daniel's death, somebody was seen fleeing the crime scene through the backyard.
Do you know who this person was?
Well, at the moment, no, I do not. But with the process of elimination, I'm sure that I can make a pretty decent educated guess. So let's look at the facts, okay? Now, with the security cam footage that we currently have, we know that both your dad, as well as your neighbor Janice, were seen entering and leaving the house that morning through the front door.
My dad and Janice?
That is correct. They were both seen entering the house that morning. Now, does that surprise you?
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Well, to be honest, it surprises me too, actually. So see, now this means that the only two people whose time we cannot account for at all are both you and your mom. And since we know that that rear door was left open, well, it does make sense that, someone fled in such a hurry that they just didn't have time to shut it. Now, this also means that if this person entered and left through the back, well, then there would be no record of them. So you see, someone who is smart, who knows the layout, also knows that that front door has that security camera, well, they would simply go through the back completely undetected. And since we know that both you and your mom have keys to the house, well, then it is possible that the person that was seen fleeing was one of you two. Now, here's my guess. My guess is that either one of you or your mom, opened up that back door with your key, you entered, killed Daniel, and then you get startled when you hear someone at that front door. You flee in such a hurry that you have no time to properly shut and lock that door.
That's assuming if someone was actually seen fleeing. Have you ever, considered that maybe the person who told you that is lying?
Yes, of course, sure. But, see, in this scenario, it does give us an answer as to why the crime scene was found in the state that it was. And if we go off of this scenario, well, then I would have to assume that either you or your mom killed Daniel.
That's literally insane. That's ridiculous.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
So why don't you tell me? What do you think happened? Who was that person that was seen fleeing?
But first of all, we don't even know if somebody was actually seen fleeing. And even if there was, it quite literally could have been anybody.
Really? It could have been anybody?
Yeah, really anybody. Look, what I don't think you know is that Daniel was a pretty big drinker. He would hit up the bars in town with his friends. And sometimes they would wind up back at the house late in the evening, and they would just drink until morning. I mean, hell, he would even bring strangers home. Literally guys that he had met at the bars that night. He loved to flash his cash around and just be the center of attention. So yeah, it really could have been anybody that killed Daniel and was seen fleeing. But that's if that's what really happened. And also, you're saying that because my mom and I have keys, then we're the ones who most likely entered through the back door? Have you ever considered that maybe Daniel or one of his friends left the back door open? I mean, you said that you have camera footage of my dad and Janice. Do you also have security cam footage of Daniel? Because if he entered through the front door that night, wouldn't he have triggered the camera too?
Well, as a matter of fact, no, we do not have any security cam footage of Daniel entering through the front door that evening. We don't.
Okay. Well, like, there you go. Probably entered through the back door, left it open, and just forgot about it. The back door being left open quite literally means nothing. And it certainly is not something that should be used to make it seem like my mom or I killed Daniel. That doesn't make any sense. That's insane.
Well, yeah, him going through the back is certainly possible. Okay, I can't argue with that. And to be honest, I was not aware of Daniel's drinking and social habits.
But I mean, not many people were. Like, he was really good at making it look like he was a good guy.
So if I were to go around town and check out some of these bars and talk to the employees, they would be able to corroborate all of this, right? I mean, seeing as though you make it seem like it's a regular occurrence.
I mean, yeah, of course.
Well, that is interesting. It's very, very interesting. All right, let's let this stew for a bit. All right, we'll take a short break, okay? You hang here and I'll be back in just a few.
She's a little bit of a Mrs. Know-It-All, isn't she? Yeah. She rubs me up the wrong way a little bit.
Well, this just keeps getting better and better, doesn't it? This case is literally all over the place. It's hard to gauge whether she's telling the truth or not.
It is.
And to be honest, with the amount of alcohol we found at the crime scene, it is possible that there was at least one other person drinking with him. And she's right. The security cam never triggered that night. There's no recording. It's very possible that Daniel was the one that left that rear door open. Regardless, we need to nail her on something here. My gut's telling me that she is not being completely honest with us. See what you can find and get back to me. There's gotta be something. All right. Thanks.
I agree. There's just something that the way she keeps sort of pushing us to go down a different avenue, like, haven't you considered this? You should be doing this. Like, she's basically telling us how to do our job and giving us bits of evidence we should be looking at. Go and do that. Go and do this. And not really answering any of our questions, just deflecting them and saying that we should be doing something else. And how stupid are we for not seeing this? So, yeah, there's something we need to nail her on there. 2 pieces of contradictory evidence. So, let's see. What could these 2 pieces of contradictory evidence be? Now, I know that Daniel was out the night before his death because he had a taxi from Ride Services. You'll see at the bottom of the screen there in the early hours of the morning when he died. So he was with Harry by the looks of things. If you look at the... Oh no, Harry... So no, Harry texted him later on in the day. So then the following day, yeah, Ride Services. Your Ride Services driver will arrive approximately 12 minutes. Please be ready at your designated location pickup. But we don't know where that is. Then he gets dropped off, presumably at home. And that was it. That's the last we know of him being alive. But that's not contradictory evidence, though, is it? Not really. If anything, that backs up what she's saying about him being a heavy drinker. However, Emma said that he wasn't a heavy drinker. If you remember all the way back to the first interview, she was lying there about the abuse and things as well. But she said he hardly ever drank. So Daniel didn't drink, is what she said. So he doesn't drink at all. So that's the first piece of contradictory evidence, I would say. So the first one is a statement made by Emma saying that he didn't drink. But he did have high amounts of alcohol in his system. So that would check out. There was clear evidence of excessive alcohol consumption. So that's not contradictory, is it? He could have left the back door open. Well, he could have left the back door open. And this photo doesn't really show us that much, really. It just shows us that he's basically come in from his night out and been heavy drinking here as well. So that doesn't really show us anything either. There's cards on the table. Could have been playing cards with somebody. I don't think that shows us anything. So what's left then? It's just the interviews, isn't it? Now, I look back through my notes here. Now, Janice said that they were quiet people. In her first, I think it was her first interview, she said that they were fairly quiet people. No parties or anything.
Right, Janice,
which would also contradict it and say that he's not a heavy drinker. Let's try and find that. Let's try and find that moment.
We've already gone over my. Then I care to admit. I call people.
Now, I am curious how.
I don't remember having anyone on my usual walks, and we'd stop and chat for a bit.
Now, what about Charles? What do you know?
So I see her from time to time. She sticks to herself. But honestly, in general, the whole neighborhood's pretty quiet, so they're no exception.
Yeah, okay. They're no exception. So that's when she's talking about them being
quiet.
quiet.
I know Emma pretty well. Daniel, not so much. When I moved in about 1.5 years ago, Daniel had already been living there. They're pretty good neighbors.
Good neighbors.
They're
quiet.
They stick to themselves. No parties or anything like
No,
that.
there we go. No parties. No parties or anything like that. That's got to be our second piece of contradictory evidence. Has to be. So Emma said he doesn't drink, and Janice said that they have no parties or anything. And apparently he's having people over all the time, dragging people back from bars, drinking well into the morning with strangers. Somebody's lying, and it's either Janice, Emma, who are both saying the same thing, or it's Rebecca. So that's got to be, surely. So Emma, because she said that he doesn't drink, and it's got to be Janice. Got to be. Yes.
Hey. Yes, great catch, my friend, great catch. These statements definitely contradict and most likely debunk her whole story about his drinking, because either both Janice and Emma are lying, or only she is. The latter seems more likely. Let me get back in there and get some answers. Oh, good stuff. All right, talk soon. Bye.
Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing what she says now, Miss Know-It-All. How do you like these apples? Finally got something on her. See if she breaks.
This is a continuation with Rebecca Humphreys. So, Rebecca, I want to explore your theory a bit more. Mm-hmm. Now, according to you, Daniel was a big drinker. And he had some people over, they got drunk, they partied till the morning hours, and then someone there shot him. And that's who was seen fleeing the crime scene. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, but again, that's only assuming if someone really was seen fleeing, which we don't know for sure, right? But yeah, it's a total possibility.
Well, see, I find it funny that you would know that he had been drinking that night because, well, it's the truth, actually. He had been drinking pretty excessively. But see, I never brought that up with you.
Well, you didn't really need to. I mean, like I said, it was a possibility and it was kind of his regular routine. So I'm not shocked.
Well, I guess what's odd about your theory of him drinking that night is that both your mom and your neighbor Janice had completely different things to say about his so-called regular behavior.
Like what?
Well, according to Janice, she stated that your household was pretty quiet most of the time. In fact, she could not recall any moments of any parties or any loud behavior, things that I would normally associate with a bunch of intoxicated people at odd hours of the night, especially if this was a regular occurrence.
Okay, and so you just believe her?
And why should I not believe her?
I don't know. But you're believing what she's saying at face value, and you're questioning me as if I'm the one who's lying here.
That's fair. That is fair. But see, I also have a contradictory statement from your mom as well. Now, see, your mom, she stated that Daniel hardly ever drank. In fact, your mom could not remember the last time that she saw him have a drink. So what, is your mom also lying?
Okay, so maybe Daniel didn't drink all the time per se, okay? Okay, but listen, I swear I have seen him drink a few times while I've been living there, okay? And every single time it was when he was really stressed and he would always get completely hammered. I mean, he was obviously in a very stressful situation, given the fact that my mom was filing a police report against him, and he was put on leave from his job. So it would make sense that he would be drinking and maybe invite some friends over, okay? Like, I don't know. It made sense.
So why did you exaggerate Daniel's drinking?
I don't know. I don't know. I guess I just wanted to make it clear that he wasn't Mr. Perfect like everybody thought he was.
Yeah, see, I still find it strange that you would assume that he had been drinking when even you have now, stated that he didn't even drink all that often.
I didn't assume. Like I said, it was a possibility. Given the situation, it made sense.
All right, so just to be very clear, your theory of Daniel drinking that night is simply just a theory. This isn't actual first-hand knowledge. Is that correct?
Yes, that is correct. It is just a possibility of what could have happened that night.
All right, well, I guess there isn't that much more to cover. So look, is there anything else that you need to tell me? Anything important you feel I should know?
No, not that I can think of.
You sure?
Yes, I'm sure.
All right, well, Rebecca, we are almost done for the day, okay? So I just need you to hang here at the station for a little while longer, all right?
Mm-hmm. Sure.
All right, we'll give you a break for now. Thank you.
Well, it was nice to catch her out for a change, wasn't it? So she's either seen all the bottles being there firsthand after killing him, or hiding something else.
Well, her theory about Daniel drinking that night is a little too spot on.
A little bit.
It doesn't necessarily mean she's lying, but I'm not sure we should take it at face value either. I think it's time we bring Emma back in here since she has no alibi for that morning either. We need to know if that person fleeing was her or not. Let me get her in here and see what I can do. Talk soon. Bye.
Okay. It feels like we're getting pretty close to uncovering something that might open this case wide open for us. So I think we'll leave it there. And in the next episode, who knows, we may even solve this murder. I think Rebecca has more to say because, well, she's been trying to deflect us almost the entire episode and push us off in different directions. Then we finally caught her out, and then she apparently just had a theory. It just seems a little bit too perfect. A little bit too spot on for the situation, particularly since the man didn't drink particularly otherwise. Yes, in stressful situations, but to just assume that's what he'd be doing that night, really, seems a bit too presumptuous. she could be fine. You know, it could well be that she's just, that's a theory and it's proven correct, but just seems a bit too spot on, as Martin said there. So in the next episode, we will interview Emma once again, find out her story, and see if we can narrow down her whereabouts during the time of the murder. And hopefully, we will possibly solve this case. If you have enjoyed this video, make sure you leave it a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I will see you for another video very soon.